you've put your finger on the new blockbuster era. So the companies have figured out that they can make vaccines or vaccine-like things that they will call vaccines because the definition is being broadened for a wide number of conditions. And about every half year, we will see a new vaccine. While for the last 25 years, you didn't see a new vaccine very often. And the prices will be about $70 a dose, and often you need 2 or 3 of those, so it'll be like $200, $300, $400. And you're right that they're the vaccine advocates and the companies sort of market to the public officials in the departments of public health or the Centers for Disease Control simply to get these things on a list. So it's easy, cheap marketing. And then it becomes a part of the requirements for what children should take. And you're right that it's a real worry.
Well, it just builds it in that the business model of these companies is to come lobby government to push something on you. But your book, it goes over the real evidence of how much harm these drugs are causing, and more of medicine is just here. Take these drugs.
Yeah.
So continue going through the serious risks that we're looking at here.
Okay. Well, one thing I think is worth saying is that drug companies are amongst our most enlightened and sophisticated corporations, and they do a lot of serious good science. And I live in an area where there are a lot of people who work for drug companies, and there are lots of wonderful employees at those companies. What I find disturbing are what must be executive decisions that are being made, many layers above by the people pulling down several $1 million a year in salaries and bonuses, above all the good staff people at drug companies. And one of the main things is that they repeatedly are heavily advertising to people to take drugs for things that they were not tested for or approved. In the last 2 years, Alex, drug companies have paid $6 billion in fines from prosecutions by attorney generals for illegal marketing and getting people to take drugs for reasons that are not approved. This includes Johnson & Johnson. Pfizer is the biggest, $2.3 billion in fines in the last 2 years. Eli Lilly, $1.4 billion. GlaxoSmithKline, $400 million. Sanofi, Merck, Eli Lilly, every one you've ever heard of, Abbott, and then ones that you probably haven't heard. Listeners may not have heard of. All aggressively promoting to your doctors and to all of us through advertising, which, by the way, we're one of only 2 countries in the world that allow direct-to-consumer advertising, because the whole idea behind prescription drugs was for 50 years that it was your doctor who decided whether you needed a certain drug, and it was the doctor whose job it was to stay on top of developments. Now with this direct advertising, they're getting patients to go in and tell the doctor what to prescribe, and often for a condition that's not been tested for.
Well, it just gets crazier and crazier by the minute.
Yeah. So, one simple thing that we recommend at the end of this little book, which is only $15, I think it's the cheapest book that Columbia Press has ever published, and I make no money on it. It was funded by the MacArthur Foundation in Chicago, and they just paid us fees to do the writing that we did, so we get no royalties. But I just think people need to read this little book and learn about this issue and talk about it and protect themselves. So one thing that's recommended in the last short chapter is that whenever a drug is prescribed for an unapproved use, which is called off-label, but I think unapproved use really puts it on the table clearly, is assigned consent. So your doctor should hand you a piece of paper. It might have one sentence saying, "I understand that this prescription is being given to me by my doctor for a condition for which it has not been approved, and I agree." And I think if most of your listeners were handed a piece of paper like that, they'd say, "Well, doctor, what's going on? Why are you doing this? And
well, I mean, we see doctors that and clinics that aren't even checking to see what other medications you're on. And I see even young people now with big, tables just full of different pills they're taking.
Right.
I mean, and then all these weird drug interactions. What are the numbers? What do we know? I mean, how many people a year die from these drug interactions?
Well, the total estimated deaths from hospitalized patients is at 111,000. But as you said so well at the beginning, it was a wonderful introduction you gave to this talk. We don't know how many more, because that doesn't count all the people who die at home, at work, driving, walking, and so forth. So it's a very limited measure that we have. And there's one of the things that really appalls me is here is the roughly the fourth, or as you say, it might be the third leading cause of death, and there are relatively few efforts to track and detail studies. So when you ask, well, how many people die from drug interactions, from what's called polypharmacy, taking 2, 3, 4, 5 drugs, I can't think of a study that actually does more than just guess what that is.
So we only know about the surface of the tip of the iceberg. Stay there, Professor. We're going to come back and continue to discuss this on the other side. Then Lord Monken's coming up. Hi, this is Alex Jones. Did you know that the global elite are now storing non-hybrid seeds in secret storage vaults near the Arctic Circle? Did you know that in a real meltdown, non-hybrid seeds can become more valuable than silver or gold? It's true, seeds have outperformed even gold and silver before in this country, and it's possible that could even happen again. So our friends at Solutions from Science have put together the perfect mix of non-hybrid seeds. They call it a survival seed bank, and it can produce an endless supply of nutrient-dense food for you and your family. And here's the best part. These seeds have not been genetically modified in any way, and you actually get enough seeds to plant a full-acre crisis garden. So visit them today at survivalseedbank.com. That's survivalseedbank.com, or give them a call at 877-327-0365. That's 877-327-0365. Remember, in a real crisis, non-hybrid seeds are the ultimate barter item. This is Alex Jones for survivalseedbank.com.
Do you want to get away from additives and preservatives in your food? Need alternatives to conventional food preparation? Do you want to save the fruits of your gardening labor? And are you looking for an excellent gift idea? Then check out the Excalibur Dehydrator. Dehydration is one of the healthiest, most cost-effective, and fun ways to feed yourself and your family. Make healthy snacks like fruit roll-ups and beef jerky. Store healthy food in case of an emergency with no added salts, fats, or preservatives. And save hundreds of dollars by drying it yourself with the Excalibur Dehydrator. The Excalibur Dehydrator comes with an industry-leading exclusive 10-year warranty. And when you order, you'll receive a free book filled with amazing easy recipes, a $25 value free for a limited time. Just mention coupon code GCN. Learn more and order your Excalibur Dehydrator today at drying123.com. That's DRYING123.com. Drying123.com. Or call 1-800-875-4254. That's 1-800-875-4254. Season's greetings and health and wellness from Excalibur Dehydrator.
Pure water. What could be better than the gift of health for your loved ones? And who better to help you give the gift this holiday season than BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com? If those on your gift list are drinking or bathing in unfiltered city or well water, chances are that water is contaminated with rust, bacteria, chlorine, and fluoride. For just pennies a day, Berkey Water Filters remove dangerous contaminants from both well and city water, is powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water, and is great for camping and emergencies. Right now, GCN listeners get 5% off all ceramic filter systems and free shipping on orders over $50. Purchase any filter system from BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com to get your choice of Berkey Sport bottles, a KDF shower filter, a set of fluoride filters, or the new Sight Glass spigot, absolutely free. Visit BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com or call 877-99-BERKEY today. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY. Give the gift of health at BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com today.
Come, you masters of war.
We have the video up on PrisonPlanet.com of Ron Paul on Fox Business last night with Napolitano, judge, saying that he's been verbally told that he would be the new committee chairman of the key subcommittee over the private Federal Reserve. And, of course, the Constitution says Congress will control the issuance of currency and credit. The Fed has absconded with that power. And here's the Bloomberg headline. It's now official. Ron Paul, author of In the Fed to Lead Fed Oversight Panel. That was in question last week, and we made it the #1 search term to stop Boehner from blocking it and to call Boehner's office, the presumptive new Speaker of the House in the next Congress. So Representative Ron Paul, Texas Republican and author of In the Fed, will take control of the House subcommittee that oversees the Federal Reserve. His son, the senator elect, will be joining us tomorrow, Rand Paul, Dr. Paul as well. You know, I'm going to get you back because I've just read the summary of it and read articles about your great book. But I want to get you back in the future after I read the whole book to really, really go through it when I'm more educated. But, I mean, it just seems that the government freaks out about a few people dying from terrorism, but more people die from bee stings every year. But then meanwhile, you've got one of the major causes of death. And I see wilder and wilder ads for drugs where it sounds like the side effects are 1,000 times worse than what it's treating. So I'm glad your book is really trying to bring some light to this, Professor Light. And tell folks where they can get the book.
Well, the best place is Amazon, and you just put in The Risks of Prescription Drugs. My website is pharmamyths.net. That's PHARMA myths, MYTHS.net. Because I've also been looking into the claims by companies that it costs an average of $1.3 billion in research and development to bring a new drug to market, extremely expensive. And when you break down their numbers, and all the numbers are created by economists who are retained by the companies, it comes out to be a small fraction of that because they use all kinds of inflators to puff the number up.
Wow. I look forward to having you back on for a full hour in the near future. Professor, give us that website one more time.
It's PharmaMyths, PHARMAMYTHS.net, and it's the risk of prescription drugs. And I thought I'd give you one example, if we have a minute,
sure,
of a misleading ad. So this is an ad for Lipitor about a few days ago. It starts with saying, did you know more than 80% of people who have heart attacks have high cholesterol? Now, how is that misleading? Well, because although it's true, 90% of the people who have cholesterol don't have heart attacks. It's a different denominator. If you start with all the people with heart attacks, most of them have 10 fingers, and 80% of them have cholesterol. Okay? But if you start with the millions and millions of people with high cholesterol, very few of them have heart attacks, and the evidence is quite clear now that taking statins to lower cholesterol in people who do not already have a risk of heart disease does not reduce the probability of dying. It does not decrease it.
Well, now they want to put statins in the water. Have you seen those announcements?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, is Big Pharma just going to take over our total, economy? I mean, it's like GMO, closely allied with Big Pharma, basically the same group. We don't want you to know this is a GMO salmon that's part insect or part eel. Oh, we don't want you to know this goat's part insect. Oh, we don't want you to know that corn in studies caused all sorts of birth defects. Just on and on and on. Professor, great having you on. Look forward to talking to you again in the future when I've had a chance to read the book.
See you next week.
You bet. Take care.
Thursday.
All right, buddy. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to be right back, ladies and gentlemen, after this break. And then at 8 after, we've got more Christopher Monckton with key intel coming up from what's going on down in Mexico with the UN meeting. I've got some other important news I want to hit on in the brief segment coming up. Hour number 3 is 70 seconds away. Don't forget, PrisonPlanet.tv, simulcasting the radio show.
This is GCN, the Genesis Communications Radio Network.
You may be arrested and or subject to other police action.
Tyranny is here. The grim future foretold in 1984 has become reality.
It really says that the state is God.
The United States is now recognized globally as one of the most oppressive police states on Earth. This film conclusively proves the existence of a secret network of FEMA camps, now being expanded nationwide. This documentary exposes how the continuity of government program has established an all-powerful shadow state. Police State 4 chronicles the sickening depths to which our republic has fallen. Prepare to enter the secret